How about 6th round pick Jake Luton? He had a pretty fun day. I'm just going to break it down. I'm going to jump right into it and talk about sort of the highlights and what he did well and what he didn't do well. His biggest highlight of the day happened in the first drive, in the third play actually. It's going to be cover 3 zone, and DJ Chark is running a deep route. This can work against cover 3 zone. The defensive back he's going up against is currently playing press, so he's the guy who's in charge of covering the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. There's only one safety deep, so this is a play that can work out. And also he's going up against Vernon Hargraves, so Chark against Hargraves, that's a pretty big advantage. And you're going to see why once this play starts, because Chark starts running, and I don't know what Hargraves is doing here. I really don't. I don't know why he isn't staying further deep. I'm not sure if he just didn't know what the coverage is here or what, but this is just a very bizarre thing. I think maybe he thought Chark was going to run over the middle and kind of just gave up on the play. I don't know. Very bizarre, but give credit to Luton for seeing this. Give credit to Chark for being able to get open. And also, this is going to be an incredible throw. I mean, watch. This is just absolutely perfect. Very far down the field. It hits Chark in a way where he can make the catch and continue running down the field and get into the end zone for a touchdown. This one was a good play as well. Another example of him taking advantage of defensive mistakes. It's going to be a cover 3 zone blitz. And what's going to happen for the Jaguars is they're running play action, and they're going to have their tight end Tyler Eifert run over the middle. And this can work out, especially because it's cover 3 zone with a blitz. There's only going to be 3 Houston players in the middle of the field, and they're probably going to be out of position because of the play action. And as you see, once the play starts, really all these Texans players are definitely very much out of position. I mean, the player in the black circle, he's actually the one in charge of covering sort of the top third of the screen of that section of the field. You also have the player in the yellow circle. I actually think he's doing a pretty good job of reading this play and trying to figure out, a way to make this not as wide open as it otherwise could be. It was really the player in the black circle, who is Zach Cunningham. It was really his fault more than anything. He got out of position. And so, good play by Jacksonville, good fake, also bad on Houston. You can even see the defensive back on the bottom third of the screen, 23, it's telling Zach Cunningham, hey, cover that guy, cover Eifert, but he can't get over there in time. But again, Luton's going to make a good throw. I mean, he really does. That's a really accurate throw. And listen, I mean, these aren't necessarily high degree of difficulty type plays. Let's be honest, these are really 2 bad defensive plays and 2 plays you expect your quarterback to make, but he didn't just make them, he threw the ball perfectly accurate on both of those plays. So I think that's a good thing, and I think it's showing that, okay, he has some potential here. He can at least make the easy plays, and that's often easier said than done. I also think it's fair to say on just about all of his highlights, they're going to be on when the first read works. He did not do a very good job. Honestly, he didn't even really try to get off the first read. He pretty much was on his first read for every play, and if that didn't work out, then the play didn't work out, and that's not great, but he was at least able to make those plays when his first read was open pretty well. Another problem just Jacksonville had in general will be shown on this play, where the left guard and left tackle each have a player they're supposed to block, which makes sense, but Houston is blitzing on this play, so they're going to have a linebacker come in and blitz. And that's not the end of the world. You do have a halfback who's going to be blocking in front of you if you're Luton, so you kind of just expect the halfback to be able to make this play. But once the ball is snapped, you notice how, in this situation, typically what you do if you're a linebacker blitzing is you're going to want to get in between the guard and the tackle, which makes sense, right? Because there's a center in the middle of the field that doesn't have an assigned man, so he could potentially pick you up if you try to go in between the center and the guard. And so Robinson, who is the halfback on this play, he's cheating over in that direction. That's what he's expecting. But what you're also going to see is that Houston's linebacker is going to read this really well. He also reads that the center is currently blocking to his right, so he now sees that there's another gap he can run through, and Robinson is expecting him to run through the other gap. That's what the linebacker, Zach Cunningham, is going to do, and he's going to get a sack on Jake Luton. And I mean, listen, you can sit here and blame a number of guys. You could blame the center for not realizing this. You could blame Robinson for getting into the wrong gap. And you can blame Luton for taking too long to make this throw and not realizing pressure was coming and not throwing the ball away because there was nothing open. So it's not like he had a guy wide open and chose to not make that throw. But he could have potentially thrown the ball away. And, take your choice. But the reality is these kind of things happen too much. And certainly some of it was on Luton, no doubt about it. He also had, quite frankly, a pretty ugly interception. It was on this play. It's a cover 3 zone, and Jacksonville is running a concept that can kill cover 3. What they're going to do is they have a receiver who runs deep, and then he cuts over the middle, and his sole job is he's trying to get the cornerback, who's going to be keeping a close eye on him, further to the middle of the screen and basically away from the area he's supposed to quote-unquote cover. And then what they're going to do is swing a tight end who's lined up all the way to Luton's right, and he's going to run all the way to his left and try to get into that zone, and the defensive back won't be there anymore, so he can get open. Luton fakes a handoff, which also helps sell it's going to be a play over the middle, and he makes this throw, and he has a tight end wide open. I mean, this is wide open right here. In fairness, he threw it while getting hit, so I have to imagine that factored in to this throw, but it's just a wild throw. It's going to get intercepted by Vernon Hargreaves, actually, so he gets his revenge after getting burned earlier on in the game, and he was actually ruled down, so there was a big run back. I won't show it all, but yeah, I mean, that's just not a good play from Luton. It got away from him. I don't care about the pressure. You still can't make that mistake. And it cost him. It cost them because it would have been a big play and get you in field goal range. And instead, Houston was able to get the ball instead. So who knows? I mean, this was a 2-point game. That was kind of the difference in a weird way. Although, of course, the whole game would have played out differently had that not happened. But I don't want to get too hung up on the negatives because he had some really impressive plays as well, really athletic plays. Like on this one, it's going to be play action, again, against cover 3. They're going to run play action. Luton is going to run in motion to the top of the screen, and he has a receiver running over the middle, so this is the play that can work out against this type of coverage. However, once the ball is snapped, this is getting defended well by Houston. I mean, you look, a linebacker's doing a good job of taking away DJ Chark. That's the receiver Luton wants to hit. And Luton is now under pressure, and he's rolling out. So, he doesn't have too much time, but he just wants to buy enough time to where he can try to throw it. At a certain point, it's DJ Chark against the linebacker. Eventually, Chark will get open. He just has to get enough time to where that can happen. And that's what he's going to do. He runs out, gets himself just enough time to where DJ Chark is eventually able to get open and get a first down. That's just a really athletic play. And, there's not a lot of quarterbacks in the league who can make that play. Admittedly, I think Gardner Minshew is one of the quarterbacks who can make that play, so, that doesn't really factor in, but I was really impressed with some of these plays he made just physically. This one was also awesome. We're in the final 2 minutes here. Jacksonville is down 8, so they need a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. It's going to be man coverage for Houston, and one key thing about man coverage is that if you're a quarterback, this is a time when you can run with the football against man coverage, because typically there's going to be 5 players in coverage who aren't looking at you, whereas in zone there's usually all 7 players in coverage looking at you, which means it's going to be much more difficult to run with the football. And once the ball is snapped, Houston blitzes, but Luton is able to get up anyways, although there is now a linebacker who can try and make a play. And again, most quarterbacks in this situation are not getting out of this situation. However, Luton stiff arms him and is going to pull off a spin move here right at the goal line to get into the end zone. I mean, that's just awesome. That's just fun to see. Very cool to see. And hey, I mean, it's nice that you have a quarterback who can do those kind of things. I mean, Minshew can also do those kind of things. So again, it's kind of weird because I feel like I like both of these guys. The Jaguars do a really good job of drafting in the 6th round, and no doubt about it. On the 2-point attempt, this was kind of a weird play. So it's man coverage. It's going to be a cover 0. So 6 players are rushing the passer. 5 are playing coverage. That's how it's working for Houston. And they're going to try to throw it to DJ Chark's route. He's basically going to run a foot into the end zone and then just run along the end zone. That's the way it works. And it's a route that can work. I mean, there also is a tight end to Chark's right, but he's going to run out of the way. So it's basically just going to be a one-on-one matchup. And as you see, I can't really tell if this one was tipped or if it just got away from Luton. I'm not really sure. Because listen, a few throws got away from Luton earlier, so it could have just been a miss. It also might have been tipped. It was kind of a weird play. I think the blitz was the right call there from Houston. Really a good defensive play call. I like that a lot, and it worked out. Yeah, kind of a weird play, but as a whole, it was a good game, a good rookie first game performance. But the reality is, these 6th round picks, they're not going to have the same luxury that 1st round picks do. 1st round picks, they basically get several years to prove their worth. I mean, it's considered giving up on someone early if you only give them like 14 starts. Whereas as a 6th-round pick, for all we know, this could be Luton's last start. This is not it's a tough situation for him to be in, and I would like to see more from him. I hope we end up seeing more from him. I also understand, though, for Jacksonville, they're saying Minshew's pretty good. Why would we just completely give up on him for a prospect of, maybe something that will never work out either? So kind of a weird situation, but I think this is at least a very good game for him, and he's earned a backup spot for a couple years now just with this game alone, unless he plays more and completely does terrible. But yeah, I thought it was a good game from him. What do you guys think? What were your thoughts on his performance? Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.